she vanished. No texts, no calls, no warning. Days turned into weeks, maybe even months. And just when you finally started breathing without checking your phone every 5 minutes, ping, there it is. One word. Hey. Short. Casual. But it lands like a sucker punch. Your stomach flips. Your heart stutters. Your mind? It goes into overdrive. Is she coming back? Does this mean something? Should I say something back? Stop. That single word isn't just a message. It's a test. A fork in the road that can reshape how she sees you from here on out. And this is where most guys crash and burn. Not because they're desperate. Not because they're weak. But because nobody ever told them the rules of the game. Right now, I'm going to walk you through it, how to hold your frame, stay grounded, and flip the script like a man who commands respect. And if any part of this resonates with you, if it feels like I'm speaking directly to your heart, then support this channel. Like, subscribe and share. Not just for you, but for the thousands of other men out there, quietly hurting, quietly searching, who need to hear this truth too. Step 1. Understand why she's really texting. When someone who ghosted you suddenly slides back into your life, it's easy to romanticize it. You think maybe she missed you. Maybe she's had a change of heart. Maybe the silence was her realizing you were the one. But in most cases, that hey isn't a grand revelation. It's a ping, not a confession. It's curiosity, boredom, a check to see if you're still orbiting her world. And your response? It will define everything. But before you let your emotions grab the steering wheel, just pause. Take a step back and look again, really look. Because more often than not, that message? It's not a signal of love. It's a mirror of her. Her timing, her doubts, her boredom. Her need to feel in control. This isn't some grand emotional comeback. It's a check-in. A quiet poke to see what's still alive on your end. And she may not even realize it consciously, but she's not reaching for closeness. She's scanning for proof. Proof that she still matters. Proof that you're still open, still waiting, still emotionally tethered to her name. She wants to know, have you moved on, or are you still standing in the same place she left you? That hey? It's not a lifeline. It's a breadcrumb. A way to feel significant without putting her own heart on the line. She's not offering connection, she's collecting signals. Signals that tell her you're still available, still responsive, still carrying a torch. And all without risking a thing on her part. She wants certainty, not closeness. Data, not depth. It's not about rebuilding anything. It's about checking the locks on a door she left half open. Now really sit with this for a second. If she genuinely missed you, if she truly realized your value, if she was ready to rebuild something real, would she pop back in with a weak, hey, or, what's up? No way she'd be clear, honest, open. She wouldn't drop a one-word message like she's tossing a coin into a fountain. That kind of vague, empty check-in? It's not a heartfelt return, it's a signal flare from a confused place. Maybe the guy she ghosted you for turned out to be a disaster. Maybe she saw you smiling, thriving, looking better than ever, and it rattled her. Or maybe your silence started saying more than your words ever did, and now she can't ignore the noise in her own head. Whatever it is, make no mistake, this isn't by accident. It's intentional, thought out. Because women, especially the emotionally aware ones, don't just hit send on a whim. They feel everything. They sense shifts in energy, attention, detachment. And when they reach out, even casually, there's often a motive behind the message. That, hey, you just got? It's not simple, it's layered. It might be fear. It might be envy. It might be the sting of watching you move on without her. But here's the truth that stings the most. She might not want you back. She might just want the option of having you back. That's not connection, it's ego insurance. She's not asking to rebuild. She's checking to see if she still has keys to a place she abandoned. And this is where a lot of men slip. Because they confuse her curiosity for commitment. They mistake a breadcrumb for a full-course meal. Don't be that man. They mistake that message for a miracle when really it's a move. They rush in, heart first, typing back instantly like they've been waiting by the door all along. And just like that, the balance shifts. You were healing, rebuilding, finally starting to breathe again without her shadow in your mind. Then boom, one ping, and suddenly you're spiraling back into the very loop you fought so hard to escape. That's why in moments like this, you need to stop reacting with emotion and start responding with awareness. Just because she reached out doesn't mean she earned access again. Just because she texted doesn't mean she's evolved. And just because you still miss her doesn't mean she's good for your peace. Before you say a word, pause and ask yourself, why now? What's really going on in her world that made her reach out? What itch is she trying to scratch? Because more often than not, that message isn't a sign of renewed love. It's not her trying to rebuild anything. It's a feeler, a test, a way to check if she still lives rent-free in your head. Don't mistake that hey for healing. She might just want to know if the door she once walked out of is still wide open. Part 2, the fatal mistake most men make. This is where the game is lost before it even begins. The message lands. It catches you off guard. Your chest tightens. Your thumbs hover. You want to reply immediately because it feels like hope, like a second chance wrapped in pixels. But here's the trap. The moment you respond too quickly, too eagerly, without pause or presence, you give away the frame. You hand over the power. And now she knows, you never stopped waiting. You take what could have been a moment of strength and hand it over like a peace offering. You think you're being kind. You think replying quickly shows her you care, that you're open, that you're not playing games. But here's the truth. From her point of view, it doesn't read as kindness. It reads as desperation. It tells her loud and clear, I've been waiting for this. For you. I haven't moved an inch. And while your heart may be in the right place, the message you're sending, it's not strength. It's surrender. What she hears, whether she says it or not, is this. You're still available. You're still emotionally hooked. You're still orbiting her. And that's the fastest way to lose your frame. Here's what most men miss. Women are tuned into emotional signals on a level that would surprise you. They don't just read your words. They feel your timing. They sense the energy behind your response, how fast you answer, how eager you sound, how carefully you craft every word. A fast reply doesn't just mean you're interested. It tells her you haven't let go. It shows her that no matter how long she's been gone, how silent she's been, you've been emotionally on standby, waiting for her to come back and complete your story. And once she knows that, she holds the power. Not because she's trying to control you, but because now she knows exactly where you stand. You've shown your hand. And here's the real killer. When attraction is on the line, predictability kills it. Certainty kills the spark. And too many men, without even realizing it, kill their chances by handing over emotional certainty in the first 5 seconds of a conversation. They respond instantly. They write essays. And they wonder why the energy shifts the second they hit send. They let it all spill. Every emotion they've bottled up comes pouring out. They say they've missed her. That they've been thinking about her nonstop. That her message made their day. And just like that, everything they've built, the calm, the clarity, the strength they were beginning to reclaim gets washed away in a flood of raw emotion. Let's be clear. This isn't about being cold or playing mind games. It's about protecting your peace. It's about knowing your worth and guarding your emotional access like it matters, because it does. When you respond without pause, without presence, without boundaries, you end up revealing something she hasn't earned. Your emotional availability. And that changes the entire dynamic. There's a reason why a woman pulls away when a man becomes too eager. It's not that she's heartless. It's not because she doesn't care. It's because on a subconscious level, certainty kills curiosity. She doesn't want a man who's desperate to be chosen. She wants a man who's already chosen himself. True confidence doesn't sprint. It doesn't rush into the first open door. It walks. Calm. Steady. Grounded. It observes. It assesses. It decides who's worth letting in. But when you're always available, always ready, always emotionally wide open, she knows she has you. And once she knows that, the mystery disappears. And with it, the pull. Attraction needs tension. Tension needs space. And space only exists when a man has the discipline to slow down, to move with intention, to not give all of himself the moment she reappears. When there's no mystery, there's no intrigue. And without intrigue, there's no spark. That's how interest fades. That's how desire dies. This is how women lose respect, quietly, subtly, without even realizing it. It's rarely the message that shifts the dynamic. It's how you respond that reveals the truth of where you stand. And once your emotional foundation is visible, it'll do one of two things: command respect, or completely kill it. So before you hit send, before you let emotion jump into the driver's seat, stop. Ask yourself, am I responding to connect or to chase validation? Am I grounded, or am I trying to regain some control I feel slipping through my fingers? True strength isn't about having the smoothest reply. It's about having the restraint to wait. To respond only when your head, not your heart, is calling the shots. And that kind of power? It starts with silence, with stillness, with being deliberate instead of impulsive. Because the man who reacts exposes himself. But the man who pauses, he shifts the entire energy. He makes them wonder. Now let's talk about what a high-value man actually does. When she reaches out, he doesn't break stride. He doesn't see it as some cosmic signal that she's had a revelation. He doesn't scramble for the perfect words or try to seize the moment. He doesn't chase, he observes. He slows the moment down. Because his first instinct isn't emotional, it's logical. He's not asking, what do I say? He's asking, why now? And that single mental pivot? It shifts the power dynamic entirely. Because when you move from value, you treat your time, your energy, your peace as sacred. And not everyone gets access. Not anymore. He doesn't hand his attention to just anyone who circles back. He pauses. He watches. He weighs the timing. Maybe her message came after weeks of silence. Maybe it followed a post, him smiling, surrounded by friends, sharp, focused, thriving. Or maybe it came after a visible win. A new car, a business move, or a body transformed by discipline. A high-value man sees through the surface. He understands people often return not out of love but out of fear. Fear they've lost access. And that's not the same as wanting you. So instead of reacting, he reflects. Why now? What's going on behind her message? Is it triggered by his growth? A flash of jealousy? A need to feel she still matters? Because when someone who vanished suddenly checks in, it's rarely random. There's almost always a reason. But that reason doesn't automatically qualify them for a response. He doesn't owe her engagement just because she decided to show up. He's not chasing closure. He's not digging up old conversations for clarity. Why? Because he's already found it on his own. The day he chose peace over chaos. When she left without answers, he didn't stay stuck. He didn't beg. He didn't wait. He rebuilt. And now that she's back, he's not rushing to rewind. He's simply asking the right question. Does she even have a place in this new chapter? A man who knows his worth doesn't react, because his peace isn't held hostage by someone else's choices. He's past the point of needing to prove himself. He doesn't chase validation, he is the source of it. He's not wondering if she still cares. He's asking himself if he still does. Because he's learned that true power isn't about being wanted. It's about being selective. He doesn't need to flex or remind her of what she lost. His growth already speaks for itself. His silence carries more weight than any text ever could. He's built a life with purpose. A life that doesn't orbit around her attention. No waiting, no hoping, no crumbs. He's locked into his mission, his structure, his path. His emotions are stable. His energy? Protected like gold. So when her message finally comes through, he isn't shaken. He isn't triggered. He's calm and calculating. Because he knows this isn't about ego. It's about posture. And whether he replies or not, the decision comes from strength. So, steady. Grounded. That's the man she didn't see coming. Not the one waiting on her return. But the one who grew in her absence. The one who knows that replying isn't just a reply, it's a statement. And that statement sets the standard for everything that comes next. How to respond like a man in control. If you do decide to reply, and that's a choice, not a reflex, you need to know this. Your response sets the tone for everything that follows. You're not just sending a message. You're sending a signal about your mindset, your emotional discipline, and how you value yourself. A man in control doesn't respond out of emotion. He responds with intention. There's a difference. You're not replying to reconnect. You're replying, if at all, to see if this even belongs in the life you've built now. Let's make one thing clear. You owe nothing to someone who ghosted, disrespected, or walked away without clarity. Silence is always an option, and sometimes it's the strongest one. But if you choose to engage, your words need to come from a calm, grounded place. No chasing, no pleasing, no explaining yourself. You don't pretend nothing happened. You don't spill your heart into a paragraph hoping for validation. That's not strength, that's surrender. A man who values himself doesn't respond to breadcrumbs with emotion. He responds with standards. So when she sends a vague "hey" or "I was thinking about you," most guys think the nice thing to do is play along. But a high-value man? He knows better. Because real connection starts with self-respect. And the tone you set now decides everything that comes next. Most guys respond with lines like, "I've been thinking about you too," or "So good to hear from you." And just like that, they give everything away. They show their cards. They show she still has emotional pull. That she can vanish, come back, and still be met with warmth and openness. And the moment she feels that, the mystery is gone. The power shifts. She knows she can leave and return whenever she wants, and you'll be waiting. But that's not your move anymore. You don't regain control by being cold or bitter. You do it by staying grounded, direct, and unshakably confident. So when she drops a casual "hey," you don't chase it. You don't reward vagueness with instant warmth. Instead, you respond with something like, "Interesting. What made you reach out?" That single line flips the script. Now the spotlight is on her. She has to explain the silence, the timing, the motive. You're not playing defense, you're holding your frame. And you're inviting her to step into your space now. That kind of response doesn't just shift the energy, it sets a new tone. It says, "I expected you might come back, but I'm not leaning in. I'm not angry, but I'm not pretending this is normal either. If you want to be here, bring clarity, not curiosity." That's the tone a high-value man carries, clear, steady, and unfazed. No begging, no chasing, just presence. And what happens next? Simple. If she's genuine, she'll rise to meet the energy. She'll lean in. She'll own the moment. She'll show real intent and create space for honest dialogue. But if it was just about ego, if she only reached out to see if she still had pull, she'll vanish just as fast. And when she does, you don't flinch. Because your value was never tied to her message. You didn't respond hoping to rekindle something. You responded to observe, to see where she was coming from. That's what strategic men do. They don't try to fill silence, they let it speak. Real power in communication isn't loud. It's measured. Every word he sends carries weight. Every response is intentional. No scrambling to be understood, no need to prove anything. He's not texting to revisit the past or rewrite a story that's already closed. He's texting to figure out if there's actually room for her in what he's building now. And if the answer is no, he doesn't get dramatic. He doesn't explain himself. He simply moves on. Because that's emotional leadership, quiet, calm, and unshakable. That's how a man moves when he knows his time is valuable and his peace is non-negotiable. He doesn't let old energy shake his foundation. He's not reopening doors that were already closed, he's busy building what's next. And only those who show up with honesty, consistency, and real respect get a seat at his table. This moment? It's not about replying to her. It's about reclaiming your power. You don't need to be harsh. You need to be clear. She left once, and if you allow it, she'll leave again. But not this time. This time you move with intention. You only respond if it fits the standards you now live by. You don't chase. You lead. Because you're no longer the man she once knew. You've grown. You've leveled up. And now, she's about to see that for herself. If this message spoke to you and you know a man out there who needs to hear it, show some love. Support the mission. Help us keep these real, necessary conversations going for every man who's on the path to becoming better. Share this with a brother who's been through the fire. Hit that subscribe button. Drop a fire in the comments if you're done with the games. And if you made it to the end, type empowered. Let us know you're locked in. Your support keeps this movement alive. Your growth? It sets the tone for others. Let's raise the standard one man at a time. Because real strength isn't loud. It's focused. And the strongest reply is the one that guards your peace.